All right, we're back. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging with us. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, with you on this Monday, Victory Monday, as the Eagles take care of business over the Bears. Not always pretty, but the bottom line is the result, and they win 25-20 over Chicago. I got to hit you guys with this. I know it was cold. I know it was windy, and that can affect things, and I want to get into the weather in a second. But the first question I have for you guys is, I frankly don't understand. And for a guy who's played as well as he has, and just to keep some balance here, I don't understand Miles Sanders not getting the ball until, 6:28, 6:34 left in the second quarter. I have no explanation for that, especially on a day when your quarterback maybe isn't on his A game. It's windy. It's cold. How does that happen?
I don't get it.
I kind of understand what happened. I kind of understand. In the first half, they wanted RPOs to be run. So for the most part, those RPOs dictated from Jalen's read that he should keep the ball instead of handing it off. And that's by design. I thought that's how Chicago would come in and defend it. They would slant the end or have the end crash, which would dictate that Jalen Hurts would pull it. And then they would scrape the linebacker, have the linebackers read the quarterback then, and they would be able to come up and make a play. Now they make a play 3 yards down the field, but that's 3 yards in which Jalen would get a nice little stick too, nice little butt up, and he'd get hit. So that's by design that they did that. Now, what you can do as an offensive coordinator is to run less RPOs and just hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, and that would dictate that he would get the read instead of taking the read. He would get the ball instead of taking the read and having Jalen read it, and they were making him and forcing him to keep the ball. So they could have changed it up that way, but I don't think that it was – I'm not going to say that it was a total, the total intention of this team to have him run 17 times. We said 17 times in the Detroit game was too much. Especially now when it's cold, late in the season, your body's already taking a banging.
More.
Yep.
Yeah, your body's not even healthy right now, not as healthy as it was back then, that you'll have your quarterback taking 17 hits.
Yeah, and some nasty ones.
But Barrett, this Bears defense is giving up 146 yards a game rushing. I said in the postgame show, if they'd have come out and established the ground game, this game would have been over by halftime.
Yep.
To be honest, it would have been as close as it would have. You have a 1,000-yard rusher, and he doesn't touch the ball until it's 6:28. I'm looking at my stats during the postgame show. I'm like, how's that possible?
Yeah, it can't happen.
How's that possible? You
call a traditional run play and take it out of Jalen's hands where he might keep it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How's it possible? It's not supposed to be possible, but there it was. It played out in front of us. And that's the problem that we're facing when you have a quarterback that's as gifted as Jalen is at using everything, his reads, his intangibles, and everything else.
Yeah,
he's just a weapon that it's almost too good of a weapon to have. Like,
protect him against himself, Barrett. That's why you call a traditional run.
Well, I mean, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Jalen's not going to want to do it. Jalen wants to be the reason that we have success. He wants to put the majority of pressure on himself as opposed to putting it on somebody else. Put it like that.
Okay,
I guess, man.
Barrett, you and I have disagreed on this all season long. So on a cold day like this, you got the quarterback running the ball 17 times. And you saw the text that I sent all of you guys this morning about what Mailata said, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was one point he took that hit to the face. He slid, but before he slid, he got stuck in the face. And what did Mailata say?
Just stay down.
Just stay down. And he said, "Give me the bleep up."
Give me the bleep up. Okay.
Yep.
And I keep, if you're going to run this quarterback, okay, run him to the outside. And I understand sometimes you have to take off out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But when you're calling design runs for your quarterback in the middle, and you got middle linebackers sitting there waiting to zero in on, that's with any quarterback. That's not just Jalen. Eventually, somebody's going to catch you with that shot. And somebody, let's face it, How many unnecessary roughnecks calls have we seen on quarterbacks in the National Football League this year?
Right.
Yeah, there's going to be some defender, whether it's a safety, a linebacker, maybe even a D lineman. The one game that really concerned me was when he ran to the outside, he sat down, and a defender hit on top of him and bent him over.
Happened a couple times in Detroit.
Oh, my goodness. You're talking about neck and back injury. He got up.
Yeah. That was Green Bay you're talking about.
The Green Bay game. Thank you.
Yep.
So yesterday, he takes that shot to the face and whips it and goes, oh. Mm-hmm. And then you see the quote from Mailata, help me up, get me to bleep up. That tells me he was woozy right there. Now, the dude is a strong dude, tough customer. He got up.
Yeah, he's too prideful to stay down.
Yes. Yep. But sometimes, like Rob says, you got to protect your best player from himself.
Yeah, I tell you. Here's the amazing thing too when you look at it. Our buddy Jeff Kerr from Good Morning NFC East just tweeted this out about 2 hours ago. Do you realize? I didn't realize this. Hurts has more rushing touchdowns than anybody in football the last 2 years, not just quarterbacks. He's got more than Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, and Austin Eckler himself. Wow. Like, that's wild, man. Wow. So he's one short of Cam Newton for the all-time quarterback record of 14. He's got 13 now. He had 3 yesterday, and he had the 2-point conversion too, which that was one of those where I'm watching and I'm like, Eagles, save this. Don't show all this stuff, man. Remember that they had the uneven line and they had Jurgens in there, and then it was a really cool play. But that's the thing. The beauty of him is Jalen. At the end of the day, after all that, the hits that he took, and the interceptions and everything that went down, he still ends up figuring out a way to score, right, and get in the back of to get into the end zone. But not just that. And this is what I couldn't believe. So he still, at the end of the day, I looked at the box score, like, he threw for 315. Yeah. He had 315 passing yards yesterday, despite all that. So, I mean, was it really that awful a day? Like, if you look at it, one pick was his fault. He throws for over 300. He had 2 receivers over 100. He himself runs 3 in and a 2-point conversion. Like, his bad days are better than most people's good days.
Absolutely.
Well, and we'll also say this. When you look at it, he still has the ability to take advantage of the matchup options that were outside. And I think that's what they wanted to do for the most part. They wanted to take advantage of those outside corners. I mean, we're talking about corners that hadn't even played this year. Like, they were backup to backups. You know what I'm saying? So there was decided advantage to the cornerbacks we were playing. Hence, that's why you had 2 receivers over 100 yards receiving, because the matchups were outside.
Yep.
But I think this is one of the first times I've seen them run to get a lead up. They just didn't put enough points up to make and force the Bears to run the ball, pass the ball more. You know what I'm saying? I think they were trying to get up on them first, and it didn't work out for them. So they ended up having to stay with the passing game just to win the game.
I mean, it was an off running day as a whole, and they still ran for 112 yards.
Right.
On an off day. That's a great day for a lot of teams trying to run the football. Mm-hmm. That's a great day for this team.
And we're saying that Jalen had a bad game and threw for 300 yards. Got to be more careful, man.
Right. And that's a compliment. In a lot of ways, it's a compliment, Barrett, to how high the standard is set now.
Right. Exactly.
Where last year, if he threw for 300, we're leading with it. That's such a huge deal. But yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is they know they didn't necessarily have their A game. I think that'll help them this week against Dallas. I think it'll help them in the playoffs against Dallas. Like, they've survived a couple of these games before, and they've done what they had to do. So let's talk about the receivers here. A.J. Brown, 9 for 181. Devontae, 5 for 126. Combined, the two of them are over 300 for the day. They're going to have 2 receivers with 1,000 yards. They already have one, and Devontae's creeping real close. I mean, that is unbelievable. By the way, 5-0 without Goddard.
Yep.
5-0 without a Pro Bowl type tight end. And they erred on the side of caution yesterday with him.
Yeah, people are crying. Why is Goddard not in there? You didn't need him against Chicago. You didn't need him. Why
Well,
would you
that's
put
in
him
that.
out there in that cold weather? You're going to be in a controlled environment this week on a short week. That game is more important than this game.
Yep.
You had enough weapons to beat the shit.
Yeah.
To
Calculated
Chicago.
risk of we don't
Yeah.
feel like he's totally there. Let's give it one more week. I'm okay with that. You have enough of people that could pick him up. Don't have fault with that.
Well, it's almost like, all right, I think that they really played Davis too early. But they wanted him to get back.
Jordan, yeah.
For King Henry in that rushing offense of the Titans. So I understand they wanted Devontae back. Just because, last week they wanted to get, a leg up on it. I think they could have held him out a little longer. They're usually not a team. They let them usually practice for a week first, and then they put them out there. I think they jumped the gun with Avonte and Davis because they feel as though they needed them, especially with, the safety position not being locked in.
Right.
They needed Avonte out there. So that's the biggest thing, with Blankenship not being there. So, I mean, I understand why they brought those guys back early, but why bring a guy back early when you're playing against a Bears team that you should beat in the first place?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest reason why they didn't bring him back as soon as they did. Like, all right, we got another week. We're just playing the Bears. So since we're playing the Bears, we're going to hold off a minute.
Plus,
so I understand the rationale with that.
Yeah, everything hurts a little bit more when it's 19 degrees out. See, there's a difference between Midwest cold and East Coast cold. There's a big difference. Yeah. And when it's 19 degrees is like a freezer box. Especially with that hawk blowing off Lake Michigan, everything hurts a little bit more. Everything stings a lot more. And now that we know that Goddard had a slight fracture in there, why would you put him out there for now? You didn't need him. There's no reason to put him out there.
All right, let me break it down to you. The cold they felt yesterday is almost inhumane.
Yes.
It's not just cold on your skin, but that coldness gets down to your bones. That's how cold. It's almost unsurvivably cold. That's how cold it is out there when they were playing. And it caught Jalen Hurts by surprise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he played in a cold game when he played against Green Bay 2 years ago when they were making that transition from going to Hurts from Wentz. But it's altogether different when you're out there in that water. I mean, that wind coming off that water. Man, Lake Michigan, that cold there is unbelievable.
And what did Jalen say? He couldn't feel his fingers early on?
Yeah, because he wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't prepared for him. You got to get them hand warmers, bro. You got to get those things. He don't have those things, man. He ain't play with those things. But you need those when you're playing out there in that type of cold, man. And people like to say, offensive linemen bro, we hate playing in that too. That's not a cold that you want to be a part of. We hate playing. We hate being that cold also. It's so cold out there, it's numbing. And nothing you can do about it. I'm going to tell you, I've experienced that cold before. Say what you want to say. Everybody hates it. Even the coaches hate it. You know what I'm saying? It's an unbearable type of cold, man. Man, I tell you, bro. I'm so glad I'm not playing in that aspect that I didn't have to be in that cold, bro. Because it's a different level.
I just think the good thing is, and it's not going to hopefully be that cold, but it was a nice taste for what January playoff is going to be like here in Philly. Again, not as cold, but cold. So that's good. Again, I'm always trying to extract what you can take away from these kind of things, even though it wasn't a work of art. That's really how I view this kind of stuff. But it's nice to have guys on the outside who can go out and make plays, because we went through a stretch here for a couple of years where there weren't any receivers, right? Yeah. And you look at the moves. I mean, again, Howie's moves on full display yesterday. AJ Brown goes off for $181. Reddick at 2 more sacks. He's now at 12 for the season. The off-season additions that he's made, and then if you want to go back 2 years, trading down and still getting Devonta Smith. It's just he has hit every right note, man, and that's how you're 13-1. He's hit almost every right note across the board.
You can't emphasize enough. I said it months ago, or weeks ago. I think this is Howie's finest job of assembling a team, and that includes the 2017 team. This team, in terms of depth and versatility, I don't think is second to any Eagles team that I've had the privilege of covering over the last 25 years. And it's shown when you look at Jordan Davis out for X amount of games, they go out and get Sue and Linvale Joseph. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is out. Somebody steps up. It doesn't make a difference. Offensive line the same way. Dickerson been in and out with that injury. It doesn't make a difference. They just plug and play, man, and keep rolling.
Yeah, this is definitely the most talented team that I've been a part of since my NFL career started back in 1995. You know what I'm saying? Like I played when I played for the Eagles. This was definitely more talented than all four years I played here, and it's more talented than since I've been covering Eagles football since 2012. It's still by far the most talented team that I've been a part of, and that I've seen, that I've been an analyst for.
So more talented than 17 in your estimation?
This is supremely more talented than 17. Way more talented. It's not even close. They had Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith were the receivers. Nelson Aguilar, it's not even close. It's not even close.
You could look at the running backs. They added Jay Ajayi. They had some pieces there at running back, but not better than Miles Sanders.
They're both better than he's better than both of those guys. Better than both of them. Defensive line. They had Timmy Jernigan, Fletcher Cox in his prime. Who else did they have?
They had BG. They had Chris Long. This
line is still
100%
better than then.
Yep. And that team's playing without Jordan Hicks, who got hurt. So the linebackers did a good job stepping up, right?
Yep.
But this linebacking core is better. And then you look at the overall secondary of this team with Slay and Bradbury, not to mention C.J. Gardner-Johnson and the way Epps is playing. I mean, just definitely talent-wise.
Who are our corners? We had who are our corners back then? Jalen Mills on one side, Ronald Darby on the other side. It's safety. We have Malcolm. Malcolm's still Malcolm and Rodney. Better safeties. Yeah, better safeties.
Yep.
Overall, I think we have better linebackers, better D-line, better corners. Safety is the only position. Both safeties were the only position that I think they were better at. Other than that,
Well, and here's where it gets interesting, right? If you look at that 17 team, because you had Wentz playing at an MVP level till he got hurt. And then Foles goes nuts in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. Can you get that same level of quarterback play? Now, he's given you that level all year.
Yep. Not just for the Super Bowl.
Right.
But all year he's been handling it.
What I just wonder, a little bit about is there any kind of I don't want to say he'd be overwhelmed or anything, because I think playing in the playoffs last year helped him, but we just still don't know exactly what kind of playoff Jalen Hurts you're going to get. I'm pretty confident you're going to get the same guy we saw in the regular season.
Me too.
That's still be determined, and that's just a matter of playing the games. Like this week's going to be a really interesting test case. I know it's been floated in the chat, and we talked about it earlier about not playing the starters, and I think we're all on the same page with that. Play the starters, but how Jalen comes out and plays in this game too, where it's a game where you can seal your fate in a positive way if you play well. I think he's going to play good.
I'm so glad this game is one day earlier than normal, so we don't have to sit on a Saturday and wait for Sunday to get here. Just get the game. Just get this game going. By the time we finish up our week, it's the next day instead of 2 days away. Just get this game going. Plus, you don't have to worry about a game on Christmas Day, which is even more perfect, perfect scenario.
The great thing is we got a short week. I mean, it's tougher on the players, but it's great for us. Saturday instead of Sunday, man.
Absolutely.
One less day to wait.
Absolutely.
Get off on Sunday. Good to go on Sunday, man.
Yeah, it's going to be.
You and your stateside.
Have you finished off what you got on Thursday? Your supply that you got from Krause?
No. I actually haven't cracked open one
Oh,
yet.
you're gonna have plenty for this weekend.
I was gonna say, I know he ain't cracked 4 bottles of stateside.
No, just they're still sitting there, arm locked and loaded. Stateside, I appreciate you. Thank you, appreciate you.
Did you guys finish off your Christmas shopping?
I did.
Oh, my
by the
wife
way,
does all ours.
Happy Hanukkah to all of our friends who celebrate.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Pass that
absolutely.
along.
absolutely.
Wishing you just a beautiful holiday season. I'm not done yet. I'm looking to try and finish today because I got all kinds of stuff later in the week. So I'm hoping to get done.
So, bro,
Here's
when
I
do you
do,
get an
Rob.
opportunity?
Today I will. Today I will. I have a window today. I have a
Well,
little window. The rest of the week is bad.
I'm finished. I'm
Good
finished.
for you.
I got a couple more things for the grands to do
Okay.
for them. So I got to get that out the door and send to them. For the most part, I am pretty much done.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
you guys don't utilize your assets, man. What I do, see, here's what we do as a family. My wife starts this in late October because she catches all these cyber deals, right? So she'll tell us in late October, okay, I want everybody's Christmas wish list now. So we all send her desires, and so she can look at items, and the kids can look at items too. If mom doesn't get something, they may get something from me from there. And then when it comes to me, when I look at her list, I call on my 2 girls. Okay, I need you. Let's see, what does mom really want? Here's my credit card. You guys handle it. And they order for me. I don't do any of that stuff. Like Tina and Alex and Cruz get home from Mexico this past Saturday. My wife has at least 15 boxes stacked up for little Cruz for Christmas.
My God.
Okay?
What?
At least 15 boxes. Tina walked in and said, can we just cut back on some of these, please? We don't have the space for it. And so my wife asked me, the rule is my wife buys, I got to wrap. So I wrap all these gifts for all 3 of my kids, all the grandkids, right? I've become an expert at wrapping gifts. So my wife looks at me, she goes, Tina said we need to cut back on Cruz's gifts. What should we take out? I said, how the heck am I supposed to know now? Everything's wrapped. I don't know.
Too late now. That's for next year. That's for next year.
But we're going to take some out and hold them maybe for Easter. I mean, he just turned 4 December 9th.
Okay.
So we'll hold some of them for Easter. But see, you guys pull your hair out, or Rob or Barrett in your case, you pull the nubs out, and, going through Christmas shopping. In my case, it's here, and here. My wife orders for all the kids and the grandkids. My daughter takes care of ordering for me. I'm good.
That's nice.
So what did you get for Trish?
I can't tell you that. She might be listening. See, the thing is, when I think Trish is not listening, is when she's listening, because after a show, she'll text me and say, I can't believe you said that to Barrett. That was a good conversation you guys had about this. And I'm like, where are you? I'm at my office. You're listening at your office? What? So she eavesdrops when I think she's not.
She's like Santa Claus. She knows man at all times.
So I can't tell you. I'll text you and tell you, but
yeah,
I can't tell you.
Well, see, my grandson, I'm ordering now. In fact, I was looking at it for a second. In between the shows, I go in and I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna piss my son off, and I'm gonna send him all these Lego sets. So he's gonna have Legos everywhere in his house.
You ever walk on one of those in bare feet?
I know, bro.
That hurt,
this
whoa.
This is gonna be amazing. This will be amazing. What I'm about to do to him. So
I'll tell you what's almost as bad as Legos. You ever step on a Hot Wheels car barefoot?
Oh yeah.
Especially the ones that have that spoiler up high on the back of it and the little sharp edge. And I'm like, man, you got to bite your tongue, make you want to say things you normally don't say.
Yeah. I
don't say stuff like that.
It's an unpleasant experience, man.
I said I don't say stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. And when donkeys fly, yeah, okay. Oh my goodness.
All right. So when we come back, Marshall Harris is going to be joining us. We'll continue with the Eagles discussion with him. We'll get his impressions. He thought the Bears were going to be the victorious team on Sunday, and they made it interesting, but not quite enough. So we'll talk to Marshall about that, get his impressions of the Eagles and everything else that's going on around the league, because it was nuts. 2:00, man, we are going to go full bore into everything that went down, dating back to the Saturday games, which started off with that Vikings game, which was incredible, and ended on the snow night in Buffalo. But we had the Cowboys, we had the Giants, we had the Raiders, just insanity. Not to mention the Lions are on fire. The Jags are on fire. Trevor Lawrence is on fire. Bengals put up a 31 spot in the second half over the Bucks. So we'll get into all of that. One player done for the season, too. I'll update you on that also. So a lot of ground to cover. Don't go anywhere. We'll get a quick timeout. We'll come back, and we'll talk to Marshall Harris. He is Barrett Brooks. He's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I want to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So ask yourself the question, do you have any type of issues in your yard or on your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away, and they're experts at trimming all types of trees. And they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. They specialize in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, it's hurricane season. It's windy out there. The elements are not exactly perfect. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated before something serious happens as we get deeper into the seasons. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call right now, 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.